Hey, so it's my second time doing a settings video. I would have done it a while ago, but we only just started playing the game again recently, and I've been changing my settings about quite a bit. So just got used to these settings now. Feel pretty comfortable using them. So we'll get this video out. I'm not going to cover any pointless settings. I'm only going to go into detail about the settings that actually mean something. If you want to look at my older settings video, I think I go into detail about every single setting, so I don't want to go through all that again. I'll just show all the important ones. Let's get straight into it. Aim assist. Although this says silver disabled, aim recenter will still be on. I don't know about the rest, but I know that aim recenter is included in it. Personally, I hate aim recenter. If you don't know what aim recenter is, it's basically when you shoot, it drags your gun back to where the last place you shot at was. So if I shoot this metal node here, instead of my sights just being stuck here, it's going to pull it back down to here again, and it does it for you. Now, don't get me wrong, I guess that could be beneficial if you're a guy that uses the Bolty with a 4x or M39 with a 4x, but every day-to-day player that sprays a weapon is not going to use that. It's going to be quite annoying, or at least I personally found it annoying. Because if I had a guy that was at this metal node here and another guy that was at the stone node, I want to be able to spray him and instantly be able to switch to the stone node guy. But I can't do that if I have aim recenter on. If I spray here, when I try and move, it's going to drag my sights back to here again. And that's just a 1 to 2 second period that can change a whole gunfight. So I prefer having that setting off. To turn it off, it won't let you do it on any servers. You have to go to the main menu and turn it off. It's called aim recenter. So if you want to do that, I highly advise it. My X and Y sense is 65, 100. The reason I have Y on 100 is because if it's on fucking 65, it feels really slow for me when I aim up and down. I don't know why that's a thing, but for me at least, I feel like it's really slow. And I'm usually the opposite. I'm usually a guy who plays on quite low sense. I could never play on my X sense as 100. But for the Y, it feels pretty comfortable. So yeah. ADS I have on 30, same with 1X. Both have them on 30. I feel like it's high enough for me to be able to, flick to people, but also low enough to where I feel in control. I think a lot of people, play on high sense on a game but have no control of their gun. I prefer to play on low sense and have full control. But then again, it's all personal preference. You could have 80% sense and have a better aim than me. It's just all personal preference. What else? I have 104x sense. The only time I'm really using a 4x is on an M2, and I like to have a high sense on that because 90% of the time I'm fighting a lot of people with it at the one time. So I always like having high sense just to be able to flick to all the different people with the M2. My bow sense is on 30. I wouldn't even copy that. I'm fucking shit with the bow. Sprinting sense I have on 90. Don't know why I don't have it at 65. I just like having it a bit higher when I'm sprinting. So if I need to quickly turn, if I'm getting shot at, I can still strafe or zigzag, etc. Inertia I have on 0 because it fucks up your camera movement. Boost multiplier I have on 100 because I don't like any form of boost multiplier. Dead zone, just change this to however your stick drift is, man. If you have stick drift on your console, put a higher dead zone. I don't know about you Xbox players, but for us PlayStation players, dead zone is horrible to deal with. Yeah, that's about it for the settings. I know I kind of speed ran through that quickly there. It's just because I've done one of these videos before, and I'm not trying to go into huge detail about it. I'll speak a bit about the AK as well, because so many people ask me questions about the AK. I guess I'll address most of the commonly asked questions. Mostly people ask for a controller cam. I tried to do this before, if you go look at my older videos, and it didn't work out well. I don't have a webcam, and I edit on Share Factory on my console, so trying to import a video from my iPhone to the Share Factory and then re-upload it again for a second time the quality comes out so bad, like it's insanely bad. The last camera came out in 144p. Now you could hardly even see my hand, it was that bad. And then the closer I put the camera to my hand, a lot of people said, oh, just put the camera really close to your hand. I tried that as well, it was even worse. The closer it was zoomed to my hand, the worse quality it was. So I'm not saying it's not going to happen. A controller cam will probably, most certainly happen on the YouTube channel at some point, just not right now. I just don't feel like paying a lot of money for a camera just to show a 5-minute video of me shooting the AK. But at some point for sure, it definitely will happen. What else? A lot of the time I join people's parties and they'll say to me, you know, I've been using the AK for 2 months and I'm as bad with it as I am today as what I was 2 months ago. And the first thing I always ask them is, can you map out the spray pattern for me? Can you show me the spray pattern? And 90% of the time they won't know the pattern. This is your problem. If you don't know the spray pattern and you're trying to get good with the AK, you're never going to get good. Like, practice makes perfect, but it's only going to make perfect if you know what you're trying to do. Like, you can use the AK for 6 months, and if you don't know the spray pattern, then you're never going to get anywhere with it. You're just going to be dying with the weapon constantly. So yeah, I really advise learning the pattern. That should be the first thing you do. Before you even start shooting the weapon, you should know the pattern. After that, everything else will pick up in time. Don't be trying to spray people at like 100 meters away and shit. Just slowly build it up. Take all your gunfights close range when you can. Fight really close range for the first month of using the AK. And then after the months go by, it will build up and build up. I think also people think as well, you know, they need to be spending 16 hours plus on the game a day just to get good aim. That's not true, man. You know, like I stopped playing the game for 2 months, came back, and after a week I could spray the AK perfectly fine, just as good as I was when I quit. So you don't need to be spending an ungodly amount of hours on the game just to be good with the AK. That's not how it works at all. I know people who have like 3,000 hours in the game and they can't spray weapons at all. So it's not about the hours you spend on the game, it's about what you do when you spend a certain amount of hours. So like, if you're practicing the AK for 2 hours a day and there's a guy that's gaming for 10 hours a day and he's not practicing it, who's going to be the better player? You know what I mean? So don't get too caught up in the amount of hours you think you need to play on the game. You don't need to know life it. What else? A lot of people say, how do you shoot people while tracking them? Yet again, don't worry about this too much. Just focus on killing people who are standing still when they're shooting at you for the start of it. After time, it will build up. I'll show some clips here of me fighting on these servers, and you can see that over time you will be able to spray people that move. But yeah, that's about it. I highly recommend coming to these aim training servers. These are going to help you guys so much when you're trying to learn any gun, whether it's MP5, AK, shit, even LR. You're going to learn it 10 times quicker practicing a few hours on these servers. When I was first learning the AK, I didn't have these servers to play really. They brought these servers out in the beta when they first came out, and I got to play like a couple hours on them, and then they took them out again. But the fact that they have these servers out again, at least for the test branch people, it can speed up your process so quickly. Rather than having to rely on just going out and roaming with the gun, you can now do it on the test branch server, and you're going to be able to learn the patterns so quick. You don't have to worry about getting the gun, you don't have to worry about making ammo in your base and dying and making a new AK. Just hop on these servers for like half an hour a day and you're going to see a huge increase in your spray. So I hope the video helped a little bit for anybody, and if there is any more questions, just ask me in the comments. I read like every single comment on the YouTube channel anyway, so I will reply.